Today's topic is wrestle with this. Actually, I got this inspiration and this spiritual supplement and this treasures from my back home church from Reverend Samwan Kim, senior pastor that I really respect and that I love, that I've been growing up with back home. So more than 2 decades. So probably more than that. So, and I got married in that church and from the pastors there as well. So yeah, he's like my, I would say, grandfather, because I lost my grandfather when I was a middle school student. So yeah, he's like my grandfather. So whenever he released any sermons on YouTube, which I'm really thankful for, then I really right away click it and right away meditate on it and right away chew on it. And I'm just so thankful. And today, let me be brutally honest, my cup was not really filled. Obviously, yes, I had that quiet time with him. I'm in the Old Testament, right? I released the Genesis takeaways and Leviticus. It's really obey and a lot of laws, so a lot of obedience required. And yeah, so I didn't really, my cup was really not filled, and I really didn't receive anything particular, really. So I didn't have any topic to share, to be honest. So yeah, I couldn't share it, so I cannot fake it. So let me be brutally honest. And when I listened to this sermon from Myeongsang Church, my back home, where I grew up with my entire life, from middle school to 20s, 10s, 20s, almost like right before 30. So yeah, so more than 2 decades. So wrestle with. So this topic is actually from my Reverend pastor. So I think this is really practical that we can really all learn. So I want to share this topic with you as well, because you're my sheep, you're my community, you're my family. Okay. So number one, wrestle with prayer. So obviously faith is by faith, that is by from our heart, and but we need to make an extra effort to keep praying. So fervently pray and also persistently pray. It is written in the Bible. And when I look back, when I pray about my marriage, my soulmate, it took almost 3 decades really to have that promise. And I've been really praying for my soulmate for early on. And I've been preaching to every of my friends, like high school, university friends, you need to pray persistently. You need to keep on praying about the one, your soulmate, and that is made in heaven, heavenly made. And I was the last one who got my soulmate, actually the very last one. So it took longer, but I really pressed on and wrestled with this prayer. And also I've been praying, I want to study abroad, I wanted to live abroad. And it took 3 decades to make that happen, really. Actually, yeah, 3 decades or even more than that. So what I'm trying to say here is it takes a lot of time. I don't know, for you, it may be like rapid speed, but I needed to really wrestle with yes, with prayers to receive that answer. So for me, everything is, for you, maybe it's like so speedy and so fast, but for me, it took a lot of time. I needed to wrestle with prayers. And also I needed to go through that wilderness journey as well. Obviously that was from because he loves me. And obviously it's because of the refinery process that he needed to really discipline me, which is the quiet time with him, Bible reading, chewing on the word, which that became my non-negotiable God first habit now. And building that knowledge with him, and also experiencing really through that journey. And yeah, so number one is wrestle with prayer. So if there's anything that you pray about, you need to set the time and get really intentional about it. And it may take longer because God's timeline can be different. And like I've already shared my journey, even though I prayed earlier on, I needed to, yeah, it didn't work out, like ex-boyfriends, all like Korean. And yeah, so it was all part of the process, but in the end it worked out. And when I met my hubby, there was that whisper, there was that inner, like deep down soul, I can spend the rest of my life with this boyfriend. I heard that, and that's how I knew. And there was a transcending peace. So yeah, and everything really worked out very precisely. It was precision, it was very smooth, and that's how I knew. And yeah, but it took so long for me to wait and keep on praying. And I even remember I purchased all the marriage book, Christian marriage book, and I needed to really write down number one, number two, number three book, all the way to 100, more than 100 maybe. And I actually left all the books at back home, and my maybe brother is reading that, or my sister is reading, have read that before. But for me it took a lot of time. And so wrestle with prayer, it may take a lot of time, but it's worth it. It's worth it because that was a training time, right? So because it didn't come easy, you are so faithful, and you're so, you know how precious that marriage is, you know how precious the relationship is. Obviously yes, there's ups and downs, obviously there's the area that I need to also pray and be more like Christ, and be more gracious and be more merciful. But yeah, so back to number one, wrestle with prayer was the topic that Reverend Samwon Kim mentioned. And number two is gathered in the sanctuary, gathered in the church to worship on Sunday. Some people just worship just for the sake of convenience. They just like YouTube worshiping, right? But there's a power worshiping together, physically being together in the church, which is altar, because the head of the church is Jesus. And I've already shared this, that the all in service, the worship night, even though my body was so tired, I felt the power of worship and praising God, and I had the surge of joy again. And my body transcended that fatigueness, that being under the weather, and I've been revived really. So instead of choosing that comfort, make sure you physically show up to the church, because there's a power praying together, praising together. It's like concert. When you watch, let's say, I don't know your favorite singer, when you watch a singer's concert, just YouTube online by yourself or with one of your friend or whatever, it's not that powerful. But when you show up to the concert venue and then listen to that's your favorite singer's song and concert, and being together with all the audiences and all the fans, there's the power, right? So back to point number two, physically show up. And obviously yes, it takes traveling time, it takes gasoline, it takes maybe parking fee, I don't know, and it's not convenient. But anything convenient, it's like junky, you know, convenient food or microwave, so fast food, what does it do to your body? It's junk, right? So make that effort to show up, worship him, and being physically there. there's a power, there's a presence of the Lord. So you can't miss that. So it's non-negotiable Sunday worship together. Okay. Number 3, Reverend Samanki mentioned that inviting non-believers to the church. So I think every church should have that sticker or some sort of mini card so that all of church members can give it out to any of people they interact with. For example, today I actually thought about, because usually I as I've shared before, I am exploring cafes these days. So when I interact with barista, when I interact with people, I love interacting with people and sharing knowledge of coffee beans, and I want to learn more about coffee beans, how they brew it, the country origin, and the process method. And that's what I've talked about, and that's how I built the relationship with barista and the owner of cafe today. And you know what I thought about? I wish I have like a card or something so that I can physically give them, this is a church that I go to. If you feel like you're led, your heart is led, then come visit us, because we're right there. Like, we're in Toronto, so it's nearby. So come visit us, check it out. I wanted to do that. So every church should do that, actually, if you watch this. So that, because at the end of the day, it's our mandate. Everyone's portion is different. Preacher preaching, worship team praising, obviously composing lyrics, music, sons and daughters of God, obviously being that ambassador and the follower of Jesus. Everywhere we go, we're supposed to invite someone, talk to the person, and also share that aroma, being friendly, not out of obligation. When you genuinely, I love interacting with people. I love talking to people. I love hanging out with people. And yeah, I just want to give it to them. So that's our mandate, and we need to wrestle with that. So number 1, prayer. Number 2, fervently prayer, persistently pray. Okay. Number 2, as mentioned, show up to the church to worship together. Sunday, non-negotiable. Number 3, inviting someone to the church. That's our mandate, because we need to save souls, right? So that's what I've been doing, texting people. The friends that I know they're non-believers, but come out, come check it out, our church. They say maybe next time, but who knows? When God moves their heart, stir up their heart, you'll never know. They may say yes down the road. So I wanted to share all this with you. All credit to Reverend Samang Kim, and I just needed to fill my cup so that I can share more of messages. Today I didn't receive any topic, actually. My inner dialogue with my father was brutally honest, and I was very honest about my feeling, what I'm going through. So I was like a childish version talking to God. I mean, Father, God, like this, that. And, I've been always thankful. I've been always joyful. And I was just, I was that really, that childish daughter, talking to God. I don't want to deny my feeling and what I'm thinking. I want to be honest with you, Father. So, yeah, so maybe that's why I didn't really receive any messages, but all of those topics that I received from my back home, I wanted to share that with you today. I hope this is helpful, and we'll connect for the next episode. See you.